Lou Elizondo just gave indirect confirmation about whose crafts these are to millions of people. The question is, what is it? And of course people jump to speculation. It's from the Pleiades. There is some anecdotal evidence that supports, all of these observations. Let's hear what he says. We only learn the truth when we research it ourselves.
The question is, what is it? And of course, people jump to speculation it's from the Pleiades or something like that, when in fact, one of the hypotheses when I was an ATIP was that this could be as natural to Earth as we are. We're just now at a point where technologically we're advanced enough where we can begin to actually collect information on it. There is some anecdotal evidence that supports all of these observations. So again, what we want to do is try to get as much data on the table as we can before we start eliminating what something is.
Of course, but let me just rephrase it without getting into all the theories about, if it's not human, then it is something, and I have no idea. But I'm just fixated on the idea that given the data we now have, it doesn't seem like these could be human. Have you heard, or from a human source, have you heard anybody offer up a plausible explanation for how human beings could be responsible for these sightings?
No, and I'll share with you even a little bit more insight. When I've had my private communications with some of my former colleagues and some people that are still in Washington, D.C., the conversation that these being non-human vehicles and controlled vehicles, but still intelligently controlled by something or someone, is certainly not off the table. These are conversations that are absolutely occurring. But again, because as the report stipulates, because of stigma and taboo, no one's having this conversation really publicly yet. In fact, if you read, I think it's probably towards the end of the report, they say that our airmen still don't even want to have this conversation with colleagues because they fear retribution. And that's part of the problem, having this conversation.
Yeah, this is becoming a country where no one can say anything that's obvious. And saying the obvious is a prerequisite for thinking and for advancement. And so I'm just so glad that you do. You're one of the few. Lou Elizondo, thank you for leading the way on this.
Tucker, always my privilege. Thank you for having me.
We only learn the truth when we research it ourselves. What is given to us in daily life is not the truth. If you like this information, don't forget to subscribe and come back to Switch On when there is a new episode of Point of Truth. If you have had such experiences or do not want to withhold other information, get in contact. Point-the-truth@mail.de